It's 9 months to a year Omampeni John Dramani Mahama any NDC a year government. The big question busa a year yashafo any for say, has Aura really delivered what they promised into this 9 months they what you expecting? There's a big question the year busa a for Adinti and Amibusa a answer and one of the youngest MPs in Ghana, Adam-A okotena TV3 New Day so eka nsense bebree at the chair Ghana for all concerning about Aura. Now we and one of the professors Ujinemu as on their content but oba the platform so ayana okasa Edem-A MPP or chair say na Adam-A chair ne se hwe enche bia no hu MPP for Mahama. Example is like the Wontumi case in scenario no koso no papa na lay out the new strategies the Aura no the egu akwemu a into gina so they can say enche bia no in Kenya be ABC. All kasa no said there has been many complaints by himself recently dom level edin some dodo na ba betu just say Aura no on sheda enhu ne papa ye na Edem-A and then they were western Wontumi case no because or say enche bi MPP for be dey papa or the normal be dey ego kwamianko ni go kuti.
At any point
he said he will not be surprised that if at the end of the 4 years nothing will be done.
If at any point in time I am convinced that indeed we are slow, I'll point. But I am telling you that contrary to the views of Mr. Domelovo, the Attorney General is not slow. Because Mr. Domelovo is the chairman of the board of IOCO. Only September 15th, 11 reports were submitted by IOCO to the Attorney General's department. To the process of turning those reports into dockets before taking legal actions, it is not a child's play. Roland, the pursuit of justice in complex financial matters and in asset tracing demands meticulous investigation. It demands adherence to legal standards and the unwavering application of due process. I am of the view, and I agree. You see, the likes of Solo and many others who are expressing their frustration at the seemingly slow pace of the execution, it is because for you, oral is more than just a policy.
Absolutely.
For you, you saw and you witnessed the plundering of our public wealth. So I agree. The passion, the enthusiasm, the energy. But I am telling you that we need to temper the enthusiasm with patience because due process has no substitute in legal application.
The National Service case.
These cases, recently the courts went on holidays.
Yes.
As the judicial year resumes, I know for a fact. And you say, Solo is laughing. But you see,
he's happy.
Dr. Addo is laughing. He's happy.
I'm laughing because this is a home match.
You are laughing because...
Please.
You see? He comes here as an ambitious man. He doesn't want us to refer him as he says home match. Which home match is that?
No, it's okay.
No, Roland.
Let's have some decorum here.
You must give us a designation. He's an MPP member and a movement for change member soon to be he's an NDC member.
Even you are a former member of the MPP.
Yes, okay. So with Dr. Zato.
Not from the former.
With Dr. Zato, I am surprised that he's going around talking all over the place on this issue. They are the same people that when their former ministers, former appointees are invited, they match their parliamentarians to go and sit on the floor, trying to interfere with the work of IOCO. You see, this laughter that you have this morning, let it be on record. Mark it. In a few months, this laughter will turn into tears. Because I know for a fact that the Attorney General's department is meticulously pursuing all of these cases, and all of them will be brought to book. But again, it should even be a shame for you as a member of the MPP that the people of Ghana cannot wait to have you people prosecuted. It should be a shame because they saw how you looted. Look, there are many of the issues. Today, SML.
Yes.
SML. Why is Kenneth Furata not able to come? If you were a party of principles and accountability,
SML.
you should be able to bring your former finance minister in accounts. Why is he in Washington? Why is he running away? Because SML deal, we don't know what's happened, and many others. But I am telling you that the wheels of justice may grind slowly. But I'm telling you that what you did your laughter today is only temporarily. Because your people, many of them will be brought to book, they will be prosecuted, and let it remain a shame. It's a dent even on the conscience of you, the MPP. Absolutely. That entire Ghana cannot wait to see you people prosecuted. It tells you the kind of things that you did in government.
There are comments in the comments. Emelda Nasser says the Attorney General must go.
No, I disagree. Look, Dr. Dominic Ayine and his deputy and their team, they are competent, they are up to task. And I tell you that I would prefer an Attorney General who may take 2 years or even 3 years to get his issues to court and win and get people prosecuted than one that, in response to emotional urgency, will rush cases and based on technical grounds, and because he has not done due diligence, will lose those cases. I stand firmly with the Attorney General and his deputy, and I am confident that, knowing what I know, very soon the demonstrations that you have started, when they invite your members and then they invite them even for investigation, you are demonstrating. You go to Yoko, prepare to be sleeping at Nsawam with them, because some of them will be locked up. And when they are arrested and they are taken through the due process and they are duly prosecuted, nobody will shout witch hunting. Prepare to go and sit with them in Sawam as well. Look, I want to appeal to the people of Ghana, especially the NDC members, that in the past, recall what happened in 2009. There were many issues, things like the Ghana had 50, where we all saw the things that went wrong. But you will go to court and all you hear is, oh, based on technical grounds, based on whatever, many of those issues went unprosecuted. But I am telling them that Dr. Dominic Ayine and his team are capable, they are competent, they are efficient, and they will ensure that people are prosecuted rightly. Roland, in conclusion, swift retribution may satisfy emotional urgency, but only transparent, thorough, and legally sound procedures can guarantee lasting justice. Again, swift retribution may satisfy emotional urgency, but it will take a thorough, meticulous, and adherence to due process to guarantee lasting justice. People will be prosecuted. Have confidence in the age.
Charlie, you guys, your AJ, very slow, tortoise.
Well, I disagree.
Opposition,
yes.
yabi, oral means what?
Recover.
One advocate who says that he's been working like a tortoise is solo, always talking about every Wednesday when he comes here. Why?
So, Roland, I think it's important for us to understand the concept of oral. Oral was born out of the crucible of the public outrage. It was a national response to decades of entrenched graft, impunity, and systemic plundering of Ghana's public resources. Oral was not only a policy initiative, but it was also a moral crusade to get the people of Ghana to understand that regardless of your political affiliation or social status, when given the opportunity to manage any public office, you cannot and you must not engage in any act of corruption. And that is why the people of Ghana responded positively. And I can tell you that the message resonated with the Ghanaian people because people had lost confidence in political leadership, and Ghanaians saw in 8 years how the resources of this country were plundered, especially by the President Akuffo administration. And so the expectation of many Ghanaians who wanted to restore dignity and restore confidence, public trust in governance, was that oral will be the vehicle to get people to account for their stewardship. And so, generally, because it's a policy that resonated with the Ghanaian people, you would expect people to make comments or arguments, asking or trying to question why 9 months into office, nobody has been prosecuted or they are not seeing people in court. But oral as a vehicle, the credibility of it, Roland, rests also on the fact that beyond getting the outcomes, it must be done with proper due diligence. Roland, there's no substitute for due diligence in the administration of justice. I have so much confidence in the Attorney General, but it's important for people to know how these things work. And so 9 months, it may appear, it may seem to people that we are delaying or we are slow in prosecutions. But within the legal remits, within the exercise of legal authority, I believe that we are on course. Now, let me tell you how these things work. Oral committee was established even before the president was sworn in. At the time, the minority, the NPP, those who today are questioning why oral is not delivering the outcomes that they are expecting, questioned why President Mahama was in a rush to set up oral at the time he was not even sworn in. They actually questioned the legality of the committee. But we did that because President Mahama recognized, he was fully aware that in getting these issues investigated and for prosecution to start, it may take such a long time. And so he was in a hurry to get a committee to even start working. Now, after the committee's report, these reports are handed over to investigative bodies. Investigations will go on from Yoko, NIB, and all the others. After the investigative reports are out, it takes time again to turn those reports into dockets before you can go to court. Roland,
yes, sir.
As I speak, the NPP know, and he knows, that a number of former officials, hundreds of former appointees of the previous regime have been attending to investigative bodies. Go to Yoko, let your producers go. Go to NIB. Some of them on daily basis, they are appearing, answering questions. Now, when all these processes are completed, the Attorney General will go to court. And I am confident that we are not only interested in rushing to court, where we saw in the past how government law, sometimes even with the low-hanging fruits, the court will strike out the case based on technical grounds, not necessarily because the act was not committed, but because maybe there were some procedural challenges. And so our Attorney General is very meticulous, his deputy very meticulous, and I have so much confidence that oral may appear slow, but gradually, Roland, before long, we'll begin to see the prosecution of these people. I understand. Recently, I met somebody who told me, look, why are you people taking so much time? Because there are some low-hanging fruits. And the person started, that are you telling me that it is too technical to prosecute those who were involved in spending over $58 million in digging a big hole? Are you telling me that the $25 billion that we lost in the banking sector cleanup and all the other cases, the ambulance case involving Howard Kumsen and many others, there are technical issues? And I told the person that these are issues that requires meticulous investigations, and I believe that proper actions will be taken. Roland, we are not slow, and I believe that before the 4 years ends, oral will deliver the kind of results that the people of Ghana are expecting. Again, the Attorney General is not slow.
When the policy was outdoored as a campaign message, it was supposed to be a policy implemented over a 4-year period. Is that what you're saying?
But when you go to the people to seek political power, it is for 4 years. We never promised that we're going to prosecute everybody in 10 months. We never promised that people were going to be jailed in 1 month, in 1 year. Roland, the legitimacy and credibility of ORA hinge not merely on its outcomes, but on fairness and integrity of its methods. Roland, the credibility and legitimacy of ORA, again, hinge also not just on some political urgency or expediency, but it must be done properly and creditably. I believe that before the tenure of President Mahama ends, all the cases of corruption, all those involved, will be properly investigated.
I see.
And will be prosecuted.
So year 1.
Justice rush.
Year 2.
Is justice risk.
Year
and
3.
Ghana's moral and institutional rebirth,
Year 4, Edem.A.
Roland, must not be done to satisfy only political expediency. I understand. As a member of parliament, in all my engagement with the people come to you and they ask questions about ORA. Look, there are some voters who told me that even if President Mahama does not perform well in the economy or bread and butter issues, if he is able to arrest and prosecute those who plundered the resources of this state, they will be okay. But I am telling you that the credibility of ORA hinges also on its methods, not just the outcomes. Have faith with us. Have faith with Dr. Ayine and Dr. Justice I. And I tell you, all those who must be prosecuted will be prosecuted.
Dr. Sato, what do you make of all this? Because it was a huge thing, right? I remember at that auditorium at UPSA, and subsequently after the win of President John Dramani Mahama and then Nana Jino Pukwajman Prof, well, everybody said, you know, and the updates were coming from March, April, May, then now it's still.
Thank you. In summary, what you heard from Edem is what the political jargon is today. You go explain tire. You go explain, you go tire, no happen.
You go what?
You go explain tire. Let me tell you something. Oral has achieved its biggest objective. Oral is the biggest and the best political sloganeering we've had in the last 2 decades of this country. It was nothing but cheap political slogan.
How can you say that?
The central objective of Oral was to help ANDC to gain power. They've done that. So Oral has finished his job. So, Mr. Domilevo, I can understand your frustration and disappointment. Before Honorable Domilevo came, it was the General Secretary of the NDC who were meeting NDC lawyers, complained bitterly that there are lawyers within the NDC who are trying to make deals, or there are members that are trying to make deals with former government employees when it comes to some of these things. And that he was telling them to stop it and not to do it because that is not what the NDC campaign upon. So what I'm saying is that Oral has already achieved its objective. The objective was to use it to smear, to criticize, to chastise members of the former government, portray them as corrupt so that you can
well, Dr. Zato, if you make allusions to the General Secretary who made complaints about ongoing cases falling within the purview of Oral, it means that in altruism, there exist cases of embezzlement, perceived corruption to prosecute. So what's your case? You're self-indicting your arguments.
My case is this, that Oral was nothing but a cheap political slogan used to get power. Now that you have power, there's no way to go.
But the prosecutions are going on.
I believe in something called regime and post-regime accountability. I've said it here and I'll say it again. I define regime accountability as a situation where a certain government is able to hold your own appointees accountable for their actions and inaction. That a certain government, a certain regime, a certain attorney general is able to tell
Yo, Jumediano Gusua Wuti, Edem.A message over subscribe, like Jumedian, share them out for friends, and can be kindly click on the notification bell on the Sunday Bayam. Yet the any news be at the platform, no so I won't so one the echo and the air, but Jumediano Egusua, the a trago messeremo on subscribe, subscribe, send him the kind the a kind, you ever come, not Yaquako J or family, no, Edia by a buyer the Yakano and Subabe, the Babasum Macram.
Members of your own party, members of your own government that you have done this wrong. You've committed this crime, prosecute you, and if you are found guilty by the cause, jail you. I call that regime accountability. Where that is not possible, or when that is not sufficient, or when that is not done, I move to the second thing, what I call post-regime accountability. There, when you leave office and a new government comes, that new government still has the right. So, in fact, no right should still go ahead. And if they find evidence against you, evidence that was either ignored or evidence that was thrown out, will hold you accountable and will prosecute you. Because the day you swore an oath to serve in public office is the day you swore an oath to be held accountable for your actions and inactions. The day you swore an oath to assume public office is the day that you will know that a day of reckoning and a day of accountability to come. And so no government official should be afraid or surprised that he or she will be investigated or he or she will be examined for what you did with the people's money, for what you did with the people's resources. So, for me, I have absolutely no problem with any regime, any mechanism that is being used to hold government officials to account. No problem at all. In fact, where there are excesses, in this case, when the coercive power of the state is used, and where bail, as we've seen, has sometimes been weaponized against people, I have complained about it. I have said that we don't live in a jungle, we live in the rule of law, and I've said that people's fundamental human rights should not be abused in the name of accountability, that you can do both. You can respect people's fundamental human rights and yet take the people through the normal judicial process and get results. I've said that. But coming to oral, no. Oral was never meant to hold people accountable, and oral was never meant to be an accountability tool. And that is why today you are still seeing that 8 months of the regime is not happening. Look, some people that come, and let's not make this idea that there are people are not being held accountable or say no. There are people that are being held accountable in this regime. The Signals Bureau guy, he's standing trial, right? What's the name? The former, the train thing. Skytrain thing. Somebody's been tried. So where there has been actionable evidence, we've seen it happening. So we should also create this idea that people are not being held accountable.
Well, Dr. Zato, do you agree, and because you hold a PhD, that when it comes to prosecution and acts of prosecution, you have to make sure you gather evidence, and the evidence have to be solid enough to be able to persuade the court actionably to be able to prosecute?
You don't need a PhD to know that.
Great. So why are you then complaining that it's a campaign promise just to get the former regime out of office when you know, given and also cited examples, that even there are ongoing prosecutions?
I'm not complaining. It's Honorable Domilevo who is complaining. It's the General Secretary of the NDC who is complaining. It's the public that is complaining. I didn't complain.
And you seem to side with him.
No, I didn't side with him. I am telling them.
You have never sided with him? You're not siding with him?
People have complained, and we are not. I want to tell them why they are complaining. And I'm trying to tell you the reason why I think they are complaining is because they were misled to believe that this was an accountability tool. They were misled to believe by the NDC that it was a transparency tool. They were misled by the NDC to believe that they honestly and sincerely want to defend the public peace. But all the actions and inactions of the NDC since they come to power has meant that they don't give a damn about the public peace. That they don't give a damn about campaign, because how can you on the one hand say you've come and said you are issuing up nolly prosecutors like toffee on Christmas Day, and then on the other hand you say you care about accountability? Who does that? Who goes and tells somebody that here's a knowledge prosecute, go. Here's a knowledge prosecute, go. Take the knowledge, as if you are standing in Tubu Market and you are sharing cakes. And then you come back and say you care about the public peace. If they truly care about public peace, they would have allowed all these cases to go through their natural order and allowed the courts to make ruling on them. Then we would have known that oral was not just a mere political gimmick and was not just a political slogan. But on the one hand, you are telling, see, that's what the last time I described is a Tom and Jerry justice here. That for our friends, for our colleagues, those who are in DC, take a dollar, prosecute, go home, shut up, don't talk again.
I'm trying to get your last point. Because
I'm making both points.
Because at the end of the day, knowledge prosecute is a tool, that's the preserve of the Attorney General.
And it just so happens that only NDC members get the knowledge prosecute this time. Only NDC members get the knowledge prosecute.
Your time down.
No, NDC members never got it.
Dr. Zato,
and in the government, oral outcomes will
what
be
do you say to all this as we move on to the next one?
Thank you. Mostly what happens is this, that when you see this emotional outburst and when you see all this big grammar, it's trying to hide something. What he's trying to hide is this. Oral, the people of this country were hoodwinked. The people of this country were deceived. The people of this country were told countless lies. It's all lies to say that people have done this in order to get power. Today you've got the power. Now, I understand the pain and the concern of people like Honorable Domilevo, because they genuinely, sincerely believe that's what's happening. But I also know what is scaring them. What is scaring Honorable Domilevo and co is that they have seen how the Nole Prosecute has been used. They have seen how it has been given out nilly-willy to reward political members of the political party. They have seen how people have been allowed to get away with millions and millions of dollars under the guise of Nole Prosecute. So they are afraid that a similar political arrangement will be made. They are sincerely concerned.
What we are talking about, how does that relate to the exercise of Nole Prosecute by the attorney?
Accountability, holding people accountable for their actions or inactions whilst in office. How do you go and tell somebody that you are alleged to have stolen a million, let me say 10 million cedis. After the state has closed, everything has done, now you are telling the person, give me 6 million and keep 4 million. Now, even that, I'm thinking that the NDC has lost the moral power to begin to chase people for money because of what they did. If you add, just take a calculator and add the amounts that people have gotten away with through the Nole Prosecute. Just keep adding them. I want Ghanaians to do that. Add the money, all the people that have been let to go by the Nole Prosecute. Add the monies that you are let to have done. Keep it there. And then wait on, and also add everything that Solo has said. I have no cause with you, Solo, on this issue. It's accountability. So I'm telling you, if you add all the things you've said, and then you also add all the things the Nole Prosecute has said, I can tell you that the Nole prosecutors have wiped away all those savings that are supposed to happen. What that means is that the Nole prosecutors in and of themselves have created a huge financial hole. And that if you even take this money, if you take 100% of it and throw these people into jail for 1,000 years, you will not get that money back. What should have happened is that we collect both monies. So I'm also happy that you are concerned about the Nole prosecutors. I'm also happy that you are concerned that people who were in the NDC have been allowed to get away with all these monies. And that's why I understand the frustrations of Honorable Domilevo. That's why I understand the frustrations of Honorable Martin Amidu. That's why I understand the frustration of people who genuinely said, you are selling justice if you tell me, instead of oral, let's say, let's share. Why do you have that moral authority, to moral guts, to now say that I know what happened? You alluded to the banking crisis. I understand that. Yes, money was lost. How then do you say that here? You say you have the moral authority to say that even though I know that this amount of money was lost under you, go home. But we are alleging that National Service, you stole money, you will prosecute you. What kind of animal farm justice is that? Just look at that moral authority from and tell you where does it emanate from? How do you wake up in the morning and then say, okay, we know you've stolen, or we allege you've stolen, go home, not a prosecute. But we know we allege you've stolen. Imagine, Solomon, in the perfect world. We are taking all the monies from the imagine we did that. And then we took all this other money. Imagine we took all this money. Wouldn't this country have been better? So why are we throwing that away and this one? Is that not the definition of political witch hunting? Is that not the case of Tom and Jerry justice?
All right.
Aha any the Jumadie no ebesi edema mo subscribe like Jumadie no share na for friends when san kabi Jumadie no dodo na o POG Media de bia se ne kan se Ghana be fan into my prefer Ghana be koso Ghana ebesi ye no yenso ye quota ye contribute ni onso de ne se obehwe na wahunu de Ghana e ko se ne be ya dabi when you are taking a good decision na onso wahunu ba bia ebe da ebe ko ene ba bia ebe da ebe ba yenko na yemfa other stories na emeso no makramo.